I don't know if you've ever had it when your phone or your computer breaks, but what you generally do at that point is you hit the restart button, don't you, to try and get everything back to how you had it before. And that's really what Ezekiel's doing in some of his vision here. He's really hitting restart. He's saying we need to have a total fresh beginning. So the second portion of today's Ezekiel chapter is is all about division of land. And if you can cast your mind back way back to Joshua, that's what happened in the book of Joshua when the people of Israel first conquered the land. It was divided up among the tribes. And so it's going right back to that, saying, look, we need to just restart here. We've messed it up so badly, we have to go back to the beginning. That's what that portion is all about. The bit I want to focus on is the river of life that flows from the altar, interestingly enough, the place of sacrifice. Just as the Holy Spirit is poured out because Jesus died on the cross for us, so here the picture is the river of life comes from this place of sacrifice. And the river represents the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit goes into this place that's salty, the Dead Sea. If you've ever been there, but nothing sinks in the Dead Sea because there's so much salt in it, it's impossible for anything to sink. And this picture of the Dead Sea is that the river flows into it and it's so fresh, the water, that it makes even this incredibly salty sea turn fresh. And the Holy Spirit has this power to be able to go into any situation, the worst of situations, the lives that are just so desperate you think there's no hope for that person there, and that if the Holy Spirit comes in, then that life can be turned around, it can be made fresh. It's like restart can be hit and that person can begin again. The language the Bible uses about it is so dramatic. It says it's almost like you get, well, it is like you get born all over again. And we can be used by God to bring the river of life into somebody's life. We can be used by God. Through us, the river can flow, that the lives of the people around us will become fresh. And the key to that happening is given in the little picture where the man, Ezekiel wades into the river and he goes a bit further and he's not sure and he goes a bit further and then he goes a bit further till he's right out of his depth. The way that God will most freely be able to use us is when we are willing to allow him to have his way and to take us out of our depth. Most of us want to be in control. With the Spirit of God, it doesn't work like that. He's described as a wind that blows where he wants, and he's like a river that will flow where he wants. And the key for us is to allow ourselves to surrender, to be swept away in the direction that he might be willing to take us. In practice, what that means is we're to not try and control the Holy Spirit. It's not about our getting more of him so we can use him, this kind of power for our will. It's about him getting more of us so he can use us for his will. And so the key today is to say to the Spirit of God, I surrender to you. Lead me, Holy Spirit, to a place where I can make the salt water fresh.